I want to thank one of my subscribers for suggesting this video topic. Now, have you guys ever done something so cringeworthy that you regret it? Chances are you probably didn't do it in front of millions of people on TV. But one artist who did do something so cringeworthy and awful was Billy Squier. What did he do? Well, it was so bad that he fired both of his managers, and some credit it with ruining his career. Stay tuned to find out in today's video what that was. So back in the early 80s, Billy Squier was on top of the world, and within 2 years he would release two massive records which would be top 5 hits, including 1981's Don't Say No and the following year's Emotions in Motion. And combined, both those records sold an astounding 5 million copies, and Squier was soon playing sold-out arena shows. But what should have been a huge career for the rest of the 80s came crashing down by 1984 when he released his fourth record, Signs of Life. Now, initially, the album seemed to be a huge hit with the lead single Rock Me Tonite, giving Squier a #1 hit on the rock charts, and also proved to be a crossover hit, peaking at number 15 on the Billboard Hot 100 charts. If Squier had stopped there with the single, he could have possibly had a much bigger career for the rest of the 80s. But what came next was what some would consider a disastrous career move. Now, like with any singles that get released back then and even in today's world, they normally get the video treatment, and unfortunately for Rock Me Tonite, the video was, well, awful and cringeworthy. The video would be directed by Kenny Ortega, who's probably best known for directing the High School Musical films. And the video is linked down below and shows Squier waking up in a bed sporting colorful and satin-colored sheets. Squier then proceeds to prance around the room as he gets dressed, and then puts on a pink tank top over a white shirt. And by the end of the video, he puts on a pink guitar to join his band in performing the song. Now, for the 2011 book I Want My MTV, the author focused on the network's early years, and they interviewed over 400 people, including artists, managers, filmmakers, record company executives, and even employees of MTV. And none could agree on the best MTV video of all time, but there was a pretty big consensus that Rock Me Tonite was the worst music video of all time. In fact, there's an entire chapter in the book devoted to discussing the video. The video would make its debut on MTV, and you would have thought that Billy Squier's manager or someone would have stepped in and said, maybe this isn't a good idea, we're not putting this video out. But remember, guys and girls, hindsight is 20/20, because if you look at the music charts in 1983 and 1984, it was full of bands who made cheesy music videos. So in some respects, Squier was just doing what other artists were doing as well. And just take a look at what was popular and cheesy at the time, including Billy Idol's Eyes Without a Face, Paul Stanley in Kiss's clip for Heaven's on Fire, or REO Speedwagon in Drag and I Do Wanna Know. Squier's original idea was to show himself getting ready for a show, and he would be paralleled by younger fans doing the same, and then seeing them sneak out to the show. Now, originally Squier wanted Bob Giraldi, who worked on the Michael Jackson Beat It video, to direct the shoot. And Squier would have discussions with Giraldi, who was excited about the idea at first, but declined because he wanted a bigger budget for the video. And Capitol Records, who was Squier's label, wasn't into the idea of spending large amounts of money on music videos at the time, especially when compared to other labels. And with no director on board, Squier and his management team approached David Mallet, who directed Billy Idol's video for White Wedding. Mallet put together some storyboards, but they were flatly rejected. Squier recalled the quick interaction he had with Mallet, telling an interviewer, "The first thing he showed me was a scene of me riding into a diner on a white horse. I was like, get rid of him." Now, Squier and the label were in a jam because they had already set a premiere date for the video on MTV, and they hadn't even found a director yet. And it would be director Kenny Ortega, who happened to be a friend of Billy Squier's girlfriend at the time, who offered to direct the shoot. He was best known at that time for directing the Pointer Sisters' I'm So Excited, and he'd also worked with David Mallet on some of the choreography in his videos. Now, Ortega would be chosen to direct the video, and he would suggest to the musician that the frontman do the exact same on-stage moves in the video as he does during a live show, just without a guitar. And Ortega wanted the video to be in line with what Tom Cruise did in that memorable scene in the movie Risky Business. Now, Squier turned down the idea, thinking it should be a grainy and dark video. And Squier showed up on the video shoot and saw satin and pastel-colored sheets on the set, and expressed his concerns. Ortega reassured him that the finished video would be what he wanted, and Tom Moeller, who was one of Squier's managers at the time, told Ortega that there needs to be footage of the band performing the song in its entirety to use as coverage. Now, Ortega promised to do so, but at the end of the day, he didn't do that. Mueller took his concerns to the Capitol Records president Jim Massa to scrap the video, but the label disagreed and put it out anyways. Now, Squier was on tour at the time, and when he saw the video for the first time, he was shocked. His label tried to ease his concerns by telling him that the single was already successful and not to worry, but Squier's girlfriend said the video would ruin his career. And Squier would go on to claim that the impact to his career was felt almost immediately when the video premiered, saying, "The video had a deleterious effect on my career. The tour before, I was selling out arenas faster than Sinatra, and as soon as the video came out, I was playing to half houses." So why was the video so hated? Well, remember folks, this was in the 80s when it wasn't preferred that men act effeminate. Men were supposed to be tough and act a certain way, and Squier gave his own thoughts on the matter, saying, "The video misrepresents who I am as an artist. I was a good-looking, sexy guy. That certainly didn't hurt in selling records. But in this video, I'm sort of a pretty boy, and I'm prancing around the room, and people are saying he's gay or he's on drugs." So what does the director Ortega think of the clip? Well, in 1986, he would say, "If anything, I tried to toughen the image he was projecting." He claims that he and the video's editor had their names taken out of the credits when they got frustrated over the lack of creative input. Let there be no doubt, Rock Me Tonight was a Billy Squier video in every sense. It has damaged his career, and he has no one to blame but himself. Now, Squier himself also claimed the effeminate nature of the video alienated a lot of his base, which were predominantly teenage boys at the time. Even his peers, including Rudolf Schenker of the Scorpions, said it best when talking about Squier's, saying, "I liked him very much, but then I saw him doing the video in a very terrible way, and I couldn't take his music serious anymore." And every album following Signs of Life seemed to show a steady decline in Squier's popularity, even with his last two albums of his career, 1993's Tell the Truth and 1998's Happy Blue, failing to even chart. So do you guys think the video caused Billy Squier's drop in popularity, or did you even care as a fan? Let me know in the comments section. That does it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. And as always, if you have suggestions for future topics, let me know in the comment section below. Take care.